In this video, I'm going to talk with you a little bit more about rending your heart, and I'm going to approach it from a different perspective in order to give more context to this topic, this concept of rending your heart. You know, when the Father draws you to the Son and you are really being wooed by Him, one of the things that He begins to teach you, and it's not that He's teaching you like as the world teaches you, like teaching your carnality. He's teaching your entire soul how to crave Him, mind, body, heart, and spirit. So that I've told you in other videos that people will wake up in the middle of the night to go to the restroom and they're still praying in the spirit. And they tell me that. They tell me about that. I mean, it's not really something that we don't typically share about our thoughts when we get up to go to the restroom, but it's such a difference in our souls and in the way that God is orienting our souls toward Him and causing us to constantly crave Him and pant for Him and to constantly cry out to Him. He is teaching us the rending of our heart, the posture that our heart and our soul has to be in order to be in Him. Prior to that happening in our former selves, there are things that we did in which we were also rending our hearts, but we weren't rending our hearts to Him. Another way of saying this is that we were conforming to the pattern of the world. In the books, I often will say to you that we have to be conformed to Him. Another way of saying that is we have to rend our heart to Him. We have to become children whose hearts are after God. Remember, He rejected King Saul because his heart was not after Him, and He replaced King Saul with King David, who had a heart for Him, who had a heart after Him, who had a heart that was conformed to Him. I hate admitting this, but prior to being in Him, I used to watch reality shows. And I think that this is a good example. Otherwise, I wouldn't admit it because it's embarrassing. I think it's embarrassing to have watched reality shows. But prior to being in Him, I would watch these reality shows, not only for entertainment, but there was something that was happening in my heart. I would think, oh, this is the way you're supposed to be. This is the way I'm supposed to look. This is the way I'm supposed to talk. This is the way that I'm supposed to, whatever. Conforming myself to the pattern of the world, rending my heart, and becoming in the image of the one who is the prince of the world. That's another way to come at it as well. It's another aspect of it that God has taught us. Conformity, rending our hearts, and becoming in the image of the one we choose. And so when I was conforming myself to the pattern of the world, looking at school, looking on reality shows, looking on, all these different places in the world, how do they look? What do they do? How do they talk? What's important to them? I was becoming in the image of the world, of the prince of the world. I was conforming to the desires of my own flesh. I was getting caught up in distraction and superficiality, in sensuality, rather than sensitivity. Paul talks about that. We're not supposed to be caught up in sensuality. We're supposed to be in sensitivity to our God. Sensuality has to do with the desires of the flesh. So that now when I'm sleeping, when I get up in the middle of the night, when I'm going about my day, my heart and soul are always crying out to Him, whether it's in gratitude, in grief, in teach me this, instruct me, rend my heart to you, always. Even when I'm sleeping, I'm praying that same prayer. Lord, make my heart like yours. Lord, don't let me get too far. Keep me close. Keep me in you. And He's the one who put that in my heart so that every second of the day, that's what my heart is conformed to. What is it that He wants? What is it that He desires? What's going to please Him? What does it mean to be in the name? What is my daily bread? Have I listened to Him today regarding my daily bread? And if I haven't, I know that I need to go sit in my chair. I need to start reading the Word. I need to pray. I need to listen. It requires a lot more intentionality to rend our hearts to God. Rending our hearts to the world happens all the time, in every situation. We're being told how to think. We watch the news, and even there, we're just trying to collect information on what's going on in the world. we're, being sold this propaganda and different ways that we should be thinking about things. Same things happening in counterfeit Christianity. Same thing on TV. So we just passively accept and adapt and ingest these ways of the world, and we begin to rend our hearts toward it. Same thing happens in education. And in education, it's even more insidious because we're being indoctrinated, and then we have to regurgitate the false gospels of the world. And so it does require a lot more intention for us to rend our hearts to God, because we're having to go against the grain of everything else that we're being bombarded with. And so sometimes it can feel like, well, this is relentless or this is impossible. But I want to encourage you by telling you that with God, all things are possible. If you have a heart for God and you seek first the kingdom of heaven and his righteousness, he is going to make that happen. He is going to make you a new creation. He is going to give you a heart after him. He's going to rend your heart because you're doing the work to seek and pursue. I hope that this helps you to understand, because I know that people have asked questions about that. What exactly does it mean to rend your heart? And really, truly, in order to understand God, we have to have this experiential understanding of what he wants and who he is. And so I'm hoping that as I share my experiences with you, that you're able to then tap into your own experiences and going, yeah, I get that. I know what that feels like. And I do hear from some of you when I'm sharing these experiences that you'll say things like, thank you for explaining what that is, because I couldn't put words on it. I remember a while back that someone said something about that I thought was cute. Oh, I thought I was just OCD about God. That's what's happening. Now I understand what's happening. He's drawing me to him. He's teaching me how every part of my soul needs to be in him. So I hope this helps you. God bless you. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next video.